Welcome back, coin enthusiasts and collectors from around the world, and if you're new here, get ready to dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and mind-blowing numismatic treasures because today we are going to explore one of the most sought-after and astonishingly valuable coins in the history of United States currency, the 1977 D-quarter dollar, a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors and investors alike, and has become legendary not just for its face value but for the incredible errors, minting mistakes, and rare anomalies that have propelled it to a jaw-dropping estimated value of $52 million, which might seem unbelievable to anyone who casually glances at a pocket change, but once you understand the story behind this coin, its unique characteristics, and the rarity of its errors, the astronomical value starts to make perfect sense. So let's get right into it and unravel the incredible journey of this tiny piece of metal that has become a giant in the world of coin collecting, starting with the history of the 1977 D-quarter dollar, which was produced at the Denver Mint during a period when the United States Mint was experimenting with different striking techniques, trying to optimize the production process, and ensuring that coins met certain standards of weight, composition, and detail. But as with any large-scale manufacturing process, mistakes and errors were almost inevitable, and in the case of the 1977 D-quarter, these errors have resulted in a coin that is extraordinarily rare and highly prized among collectors. The first thing that makes this coin so valuable is its die errors, which refer to imperfections in the metal dies used to strike the coin, and for the 1977 D-quarter, there are several known types of die errors including double dies, where the design elements such as the date or the lettering appear to be doubled or shadowed, creating a visually striking anomaly that instantly attracts collectors who are specifically looking for such dramatic errors. These double die errors can occur on either the obverse or reverse side of the coin, with the obverse typically showing doubling on key features like George Washington's profile, his hair, or the inscriptions, while the reverse might exhibit doubling on the eagle, the denomination, or the words, United States of America. And what makes these double die errors particularly valuable is not just the rarity but also the visual appeal, because coins with noticeable doubling are easier to authenticate and more desirable for display purposes. Another major category of errors that contributes to the 1977 D-quarter's immense value is die cracks and die breaks, which happen when the die itself develops fissures or fractures due to repeated use, and when the coin is struck, these cracks are transferred to the coin's surface, appearing as raised lines or irregularities that can be quite pronounced. Some of these die cracks on the 1977 D-quarter are so distinctive that they have been given specific names by numismatists, and coins exhibiting these cracks are often more valuable than standard circulation examples because they are limited in number and offer a glimpse into the minting process. Furthermore, one of the most intriguing errors associated with the 1977 D-quarter is the occurrence of off-center strikes, which happens when the coin blank, or planchet, is not properly aligned within the coining press, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted. Off-center coins are visually dramatic and highly collectible, and depending on the degree of misalignment, can significantly increase the coin's market value. For example, a 1977 D-quarter that is misaligned by 20% might be valuable, but one misaligned by 50% or more becomes an extremely rare collector's item. These off-center strikes are particularly fascinating because they are accidental, and no two are exactly alike, making each specimen unique. Yet another aspect that adds to the rarity and high value of the 1977 D-quarter is the phenomenon of double die obverse and reverse combinations, which occurs when both sides of the coin exhibit doubling errors, a combination that is exponentially rarer than having a single-sided error. Collectors actively seek such coins because they represent a convergence of errors that is extraordinarily difficult to replicate and nearly impossible to find in circulation. In addition to die-related errors, there are also planchet errors that can make the 1977 D-quarter incredibly valuable. For instance, some planchets may be improperly alloyed, resulting in unusual coloration, weight discrepancies, or even a distinct metallic sheen that sets them apart from standard quarters. Coins struck on defective or clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to an improperly cut blank, are also highly prized, and some surviving examples of the 1977 D-quarter with such planchet errors are considered virtually priceless by collectors because they are extremely rare and represent a tangible piece of minting history. The story of how these errors came to be is equally fascinating, as the 1970s were a period of transition and experimentation for the U.S. Mint, with new technologies being introduced to increase efficiency, and the Denver Mint, in particular, faced challenges related to machine calibration, die quality control, and planchet preparation, all of which contributed to a higher than normal incidence of striking anomalies. Moreover, after the coins were struck, some were accidentally released into circulation before errors could be identified, which is why today, decades later, the 1977 D quarter is so rare in mint-era condition. While most quarters from that year are common and worth only face value or a modest premium to collectors, the few that survived with pronounced errors are now incredibly valuable. It's estimated that fewer than a handful exist in top grade condition with major errors, making them the crown jewels for collectors and investors willing to pay millions to acquire them. Another factor contributing to the coin's immense value is the grading and authentication process, where professional numismatic grading services evaluate the coin for condition, rarity, and error significance. Coins that receive high grades such as MS 65 or higher and exhibit clear, dramatic errors can command prices in the tens of millions, because collectors are confident that they are purchasing a verified, high-quality specimen. The 1977 D quarter also benefits from strong historical context, as collectors value coins not just for their physical characteristics but also for the stories they tell about the minting practices of their era. The 1977 D quarter represents a perfect storm of circumstances, a widely produced coin that, through error, became incredibly rare, and the intrigue surrounding its errors adds a narrative element that increases its desirability and, ultimately, its market value. Beyond the technical errors, there's also a human fascination with rarity and scarcity, which is why collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums for coins like the 1977 D quarter. The psychological impact of owning a piece of history that very few people in the world possess cannot be overstated, and this scarcity, combined with the dramatic visual errors, creates a perfect formula for high auction prices. In fact, historical auction records show that rare error coins often fetch premiums hundreds or even thousands of times their face value, and when it comes to coins like the 1977 D quarter, which can command upwards of $52 million depending on the specific errors and grade, the potential for financial gain is a significant driver of collector interest. Further adding to the excitement and mystique of this coin is the ongoing research and discovery process, as numismatists and hobbyists continue to examine existing collections and occasionally unearth previously unknown error varieties, meaning that even decades after its minting, the 1977 D quarter continues to captivate collectors and experts, each new discovery adding to the coin's lore and potentially affecting its valuation. Moreover, the coin's appeal is enhanced by its accessibility to a wide range of collectors. While only the top-grade, error-laden specimens reach multi-million-dollar values, more modestly graded error coins can still command significant prices, allowing collectors of varying means to participate in the excitement of owning a piece of numismatic history. This layered market dynamic, where coins can be valuable at multiple levels of rarity and condition, contributes to the enduring popularity of the 1977 D quarter. In addition to its monetary value, the 1977 D quarter serves as an educational tool, illustrating the intricacies of coin production, the occurrence of human and mechanical errors, and the role of professional grading in determining market value. For aspiring numismatists and historians alike, studying such coins provides insights into the complex interplay between production processes, quality control, and market dynamics, which in turn fosters a deeper appreciation for the craft and history of coin minting. Another point worth mentioning is the visual impact of the errors on display, as collectors and museums often prize coins that have dramatic, eye-catching anomalies. The doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and unusual planchets found on the 1977 D quarter make it a stunning piece for exhibition, and its visual uniqueness is a key factor that contributes to its high market value. Furthermore, the coin's story is amplified by the broader market trends in coin collecting. Next. Today on this fascinating journey into the world of rare coins and numismatic treasures where history, mistakes, and chance collide to create unimaginable value, and today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about and highly sought-after coins in American history, the 1966 quarter dollar, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, circulating widely during a period of economic change in the United States, but which has captured the imaginations of collectors and investors alike. Because of a series of errors and anomalies that have propelled certain specimens to an astonishing estimated value of $32 million, a number that seems almost unbelievable when you consider that its face value is only 25 cents, yet the combination of minting mistakes, rarity, historical context, and the thrill of the hunt for numismatic perfection has transformed this coin into a true legend within the coin collecting community. So let's take a detailed look at what makes the 1966 quarter dollar so unique and valuable, starting with the historical backdrop, as the year 1966 was a pivotal moment in American coinage history, marked by the ongoing transition from silver-based coinage to clad compositions due to the rising cost of silver, a transition that led to heightened production pressures at the United States Mint, where workers were handling massive volumes of coinage under intense time constraints, and in such an environment, mistakes were not only possible but perhaps inevitable, and one of the key errors that has made the 1966 quarter dollar so prized among collectors is the existence of die cracks and doubling, subtle but fascinating errors that occur during the coin striking process, where a die, which is the engraved piece of metal used to stamp the design onto the blank planchet, develops fissures or misalignments, resulting in coins that carry unexpected and sometimes spectacular deviations from the standard design, and in the case of the 1966 quarter, certain coins have been found with dramatic doubling on the inscriptions, numbers, and even on Liberty's profile itself, creating an almost ghostly effect that immediately draws the attention of collectors who understand that such doubling represents a finite and unrepeatable minting anomaly. Adding to this, some 1966 quarters have also been discovered with repunched mint marks, where the mint mark, denoting the origin of the coin as either Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, was inadvertently struck more than once in slightly different positions, producing a visually striking error that dramatically increases the coin's appeal and market value. While not all 1966 quarters are valuable, those bearing these rare and distinctive errors have become the centerpiece of high-end collections, commanding auction prices and private sales that can reach into the tens of millions. And another fascinating aspect that contributes to the 1966 quarter dollar's legendary status is the issue of planchet flaws, imperfections in the blank metal discs used to strike coins, which can manifest as cracks, laminations, or other surface anomalies, and when such flawed planchets are struck by the minting dies, the result is a coin that is technically a product of a manufacturing mistake but is simultaneously a piece of history frozen in metal, telling the story of the mint's production methods and the challenges faced during a period of rapid coinage expansion, and certain planchet flaws in 1966 quarters have produced remarkably unique coins, each one different from the other, meaning that collectors are not just acquiring a coin but a singular artifact with characteristics that can never be duplicated, heightening both the mystique and the monetary value. And the 1966 quarter dollar also presents an intriguing case when considering the composition and transition of materials during that period, as the Coinage Act of 1965 had eliminated silver from the standard quarter, replacing it with a copper-nickel clad, which introduced new striking dynamics, sometimes resulting in off-center strikes or misalignment errors that further enhance collectability. When a coin is struck slightly off-center, portions of the design may appear cropped or distorted, creating a visually arresting and rare specimen that collectors prize, and in some cases, these off-center strikes coincide with die cracks or doubling, producing what numismatists call combo errors, combinations of anomalies that exponentially increase the desirability and market value of the coin, making the 1966 quarter not just a coin but a conversation piece and an investment. And it's important to understand that the story of the 1966 quarter dollar is also one of human error and oversight, as the mint, in its rush to meet public demand and fill the coffers with newly minted coinage, did not catch every mistake, and collectors thrive on these oversights, turning what could have been a mundane, everyday object into a prized collectible worth millions. Moreover, the grading of such coins by professional services like PCGS or NGC plays a pivotal role in establishing market value, as a coin's condition, including luster, strike quality, and presence of imperfections, can transform a coin from being a minor curiosity to a headline-grabbing, multi-million-dollar artifact. And in the case of the 1966 quarter dollar, coins graded at the highest levels of mint state, especially with verified errors like dramatic doubling or off-center strikes, have become the ultimate holy grail for serious collectors, further fueling media attention, auctions, and private sales that perpetuate the coin's legendary status. And beyond errors and grading, provenance and ownership history add another layer to the coin's value, as coins that have been part of famous collections or have appeared in landmark auctions carry additional prestige and sometimes a multiplier effect on price. In addition, the rarity factor cannot be overstated, as even among error coins, the 1966 quarter dollar occupies a very exclusive niche, with only a limited number of verified error specimens known to exist, making supply extremely constrained while demand among collectors and investors remains extraordinarily high, which is a fundamental driver of the astonishing $32 million valuation that has been reported. And when discussing why collectors are willing to pay such sums, one must consider the psychological aspect of rarity and uniqueness, the allure of owning a piece of history that cannot be replaced, the satisfaction of holding a tangible artifact that embodies a specific moment in time, a confluence of human oversight, material science, and artistic craftsmanship. And when you add to that the speculative element of the coin market, where rarities tend to appreciate dramatically over time, the 1966 quarter dollar emerges as not just a coin but a phenomenon. And it's worth noting that the coin has been extensively studied and documented, with numismatic publications and specialized databases detailing known specimens, their error types, provenance, and auction results, creating a rich and layered narrative that enhances both scholarly interest and monetary value. collectors often seek to acquire multiple examples to study variations in errors, die states, and striking techniques, which underscores the 1966 quarter's importance not only as a collectible but also as an object of academic and historical inquiry, and the coin's value is further magnified by the broader context of 1960s American society, a time of social change, economic growth, and technological development, when coins were not just currency but symbols of a nation in transition, and owning a coin like the 1966 quarter dollar allows collectors to possess a tangible connection to that era, bridging the gap between history, art, and finance, and the possibilities that arise from owning such a coin are expansive, as they range from participation in high-profile auctions that attract media coverage and international attention to potential investment gains that could rival or surpass traditional asset classes, and for many collectors, there is an emotional component as well, a sense of pride and accomplishment in tracking down a coin with verified errors and a documented lineage, often involving years of meticulous research, networking within collector communities, and careful negotiation, which only adds to the narrative richness of each specimen. And while the $32 million figure may seem almost fantastical to those outside the numismatic world, it is a reflection of the intersection of rarity, era significance, historical context, demand, and the fervor of collectors who recognize that owning a coin like the 1966 quarter dollar is akin to owning a piece of American history that is both finite and irreplaceable. Moreover, the coin's value is also supported by the broader dynamics of the collectibles market, where coins with verifiable errors often outperform other collectible categories because they combine intrinsic aesthetic appeal with quantifiable scarcity and a clear historical narrative, making them particularly attractive to investors seeking diversification beyond traditional financial instruments. And in analyzing the specific errors that make the 1966 quarter so valuable, one finds an array of intriguing anomalies including die cracks that range from thin, hairline fissures to prominent splits that run across Liberty's profile, doubling that can be found not only on numerals but on lettering and even the eagle on the reverse, off-center strikes that occasionally result in a partial design being absent from one side of the coin, repunched mint marks that create subtle shadow effects or bold overlapping impressions. Last, today we are diving into a fascinating story that will captivate anyone with even the slightest interest in rare coins and their incredible value, so settle in and get ready to explore the 1982 quarter dollar coin, a coin that has intrigued collectors and investors alike because of its unique errors and extraordinary potential value, currently estimated at a staggering $54 million, which is not just a number but a testament to the coin's rarity, its historical significance, and the intricacies that make coin collecting a thrilling pursuit for millions worldwide. And to understand why this coin is so valuable, we must first look at the historical context of its production. In 1982, the United States Mint was in a transitional phase, experimenting with different metal compositions due to rising copper prices, which led to significant changes in the alloy used for circulating coins, specifically the quarters, and this experiment introduced a mix of errors that now, decades later, make certain 1982 quarters extraordinarily rare and highly coveted. Collectors often refer to this coin as one of the hidden gems of modern numismatics because while millions of quarters were minted that year, only a handful exhibit the anomalies that elevate their value into the millions. And these errors range from slight variations in the die strikes to more significant mistakes such as off-center strikes, double die obverse and reverse errors, die cracks, planchet flaws, and even misaligned mint marks. Each of these errors represents a unique window into the minting process, a glimpse of how even the most tightly controlled production lines can produce unexpected variations, and these variations are what collectors chase because they transform an otherwise common coin into an irreplaceable piece of history. For instance, some 1982 quarters show doubled lettering, a phenomenon that occurs when the die impresses the design onto the coin more than once, either slightly offset or rotated, creating an eye-catching effect that is extremely difficult to replicate. Such double dies are rare by nature, and when paired with the 1982 quarter, they become a magnet for serious collectors willing to pay millions to secure them. Another significant error seen in certain specimens of the 1982 quarter is the off-center strike, where the coin blank, or planchet, does not align perfectly within the press, causing part of the design to be cut off or misaligned. These coins are visually striking and immediately identifiable even to casual observers, which adds to their allure. The degree of off-centering is critical, as coins with higher percentages of off-center strikes are exponentially rarer and more valuable. For example, a quarter with a 50% off-center strike is far more sought after than one that is only 10% off-center, and the 1982 quarter has examples in both categories, each with a unique value proposition. In addition to off-center strikes, some 1982 P quarters exhibit planchet flaws due to impurities or incomplete metal flow during minting. These flaws can create unusual textures, raised bumps, or irregular surfaces on the coin, which again, in the world of numismatics, can dramatically increase desirability and market value. Even seemingly minor variations such as die cracks, small fractures that develop on the coin dies over time, contribute to the rarity and collectible value. Coins struck with die cracks display fine lines or splits across the surface, telling a story of the stresses the minting equipment endured in creating patterns that are impossible to duplicate artificially. And then there are mint mark anomalies specific to the 1982 P quarter, where the P mint mark from the Philadelphia Mint may appear doubled, misplaced, or partially missing. And such mint mark errors are highly prized because they signal production irregularities that collectors covet. The combination of these various errors means that each coin is truly unique, even among other 1982 P quarters, which is why professional grading and authentication by organizations such as PCGS or NGC are critical before any sale or auction. Graded coins with verified errors command astronomical prices, and for this reason, the 1982 P quarter has achieved a face value in collectors' markets that seems almost unbelievable at $54 million, but it is not just hype, it is backed by the coin's rarity, condition, and the historical fascination surrounding the U.S. Mint's experimental practices in 1982. In fact, the 1982 P quarter represents a confluence of circumstances that collectors dream of: a widely circulated coin from a transitional year, multiple types of errors, high visibility for errors such as double dies and off-center strikes, and the scarcity of top-grade examples that survived in mint state condition without significant wear. And as we delve deeper, one must appreciate that coins like the 1982 P quarter offer more than just monetary value. They are snapshots of American history, tangible artifacts that connect us to a specific time, economic conditions, and technological processes in coin production. This makes them historically significant as well as financially lucrative. The excitement among collectors and investors is also driven by auction history, where similar error coins from adjacent years have fetched millions, setting precedents that fuel demand and drive prices ever higher. Some collectors have reported instances where a single high-grade, error-laden 1982 P quarter sold privately or at auction for multiple millions, and this creates a feedback loop. The rarer and more documented the errors, the more people want to own one, which increases prices further. The types of buyers interested in these coins range from private collectors to institutional investors and even hedge funds that recognize rare coins as an alternative investment class, and in all these cases, provenance, certification, and documentation are everything, as a coin must be authenticated and its error verified to reach the upper echelons of value. In terms of specific errors, the most valuable 1982 P quarters typically have a combination of double die obverse and reverse, off-center strikes exceeding 40%, and fully intact mint luster, all of which are remarkably difficult to find together. And some coins even exhibit additional oddities such as lamination errors, where the coin's surface peels or separates slightly due to metal inconsistencies, adding yet another layer of uniqueness. The market for these coins is global, attracting buyers from Europe, Asia, and North America, and auction houses often advertise them as rare treasures, highlighting the potential for a seven-figure return for the fortunate collector. Interestingly, the psychology behind collecting such coins is also a factor in their high valuation. Humans are naturally drawn to rarity, imperfection, and historical narratives, and the 1982 P quarter embodies all three, providing not only a financial incentive but also an emotional and intellectual appeal. For those who hold such coins, there is a thrill in knowing they possess a piece of mint history that very few others can claim. This emotional component drives bidding wars, private sales, and even social media chatter, further elevating the coin's market value. The technological aspect of minting errors is also worth exploring because it explains why these anomalies occurred in the first place. In 1982, the U.S. Mint faced challenges related to die wear, metal composition changes, and high production volume, which occasionally led to misalignments and defects. These production nuances mean that coins from this year are particularly prone to unique errors, and the 1982 P quarter is a perfect example of how imperfections, rather than diminishing value, can enhance it in the eyes of collectors. Moreover, the 1982 P quarter is part of a broader narrative about 20th century coin collecting, when minor changes in minting processes suddenly became critical to future valuations. The transition to clad compositions, changes in die production methods, and variations in strike quality all contributed to a subset of coins from that year becoming instant legends among numismatists. Furthermore, the coin's size, design, and circulation patterns make it especially intriguing because it is a quarter, one of the most recognizable and widely circulated denominations in the United States, yet despite millions produced, only a tiny fraction exhibits the errors that generate such extreme market interest. and this contrast between commonness and rarity fuels speculation and collecting enthusiasm. Collectors also pay close attention to condition and grading, where coins in pristine, uncirculated condition with clear error features are worth exponentially more than worn coins, and the concept of scarcity is compounded by the fact that even coins with noticeable errors may have entered circulation unnoticed, losing their mint luster, experiencing wear, or being damaged, leaving only a select number in perfect enough condition to command millions. In conclusion, the 1982 $quarter coin is more than just a coin, it is a symbol of numismatic intrigue, a rare artifact of American minting history, and a highly sought-after collectible with a face value in collectors' markets of $54 million, driven by its combination of errors, off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, planchet flaws, mint mark anomalies, and lamination issues, making it an extraordinary specimen for both collectors and investors alike, embodying the thrill of hunting for rarity, the satisfaction of owning a tangible piece of history, and the possibility of immense financial reward, if you are a coin enthusiast.